Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Droopy and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
So reports have been released, players have been signed. What else is going to happen today? I don't know. We're going to do a podcast and find out. Welcome to the warm-up episode 57. Joining me, your host, Brady Frost, is Tim Bradshaw. And we're also joined by Derby fan and co-host of the Second Tier podcast, Justin Peach. How are you both?
Yeah, good, Brady. Nice to be here.
Really good. Really good. Thanks, Brady.
Yeah, well, good to have you chaps, because we've got a lot to talk about. I'm sure Justin will probably talk about things off the pitch as well. It's not like you've been talking about that at all recently. But we always like to do a game. So normally this is a trash talk, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to introduce a new game. Oh, yeah, look at that face that Tom made, if you're just listening and not watching. But I'm calling it Locking Horns because it's, the Rams, and it's about Huddersfield and Derby.
Terriers don't have horns, Brady.
Well, mate, I did this. I just said before we were recording, I did this about a minute before we came on. So if anyone has a better name, which they definitely will, please tweet us. But you're going to get 3 questions each, and whoever gets the most right will win. So, so I'll go to Justin first. So basically, it's a higher or lower situation just in these 3 questions. So just need to say, yeah, higher or lower, or if it says older or younger, or more, or anyway, you'll pick it up. But I trust you.
I got it.
So your first question: Fraser Campbell, is he older or younger than Colin Kazim Richards?
He's younger. Colin Kazim Richards is surprisingly old.
Yes, correct. Yeah, Fraser is 34 years old, but Colin Kazim Richards 35, which surprised me because I thought Colin was a lot older and Fraser
I thought Campbell was a lot younger. So
yeah, there you go. Okay, point for you. Okay, second question: goals and assists in all competitions. Who has more, Danny Ward or Tom Lawrence? So this is a bit of an interesting one, but I'll let you answer first.
I know Ward's just hit double-figure goals-wise, and to tell you the truth, I should know what Tom Lawrence has done more than Danny Ward, but I can't remember how many goals Tom Lawrence has got this season. I'm going to say goals and assists. Strikers don't typically get assists, but it's a Colbrand system. I'm going to say Lawrence for this one.
Okay, so Lawrence has 8 goals and 4 assists, and Danny Ward has 10 goals and 2 assists. So technically that's a tie. But I think I'm going to go with goals, so I'm not going to give you a point because I've just made this game up on the fly. So 1 out of 2. Okay, final question for you, Justin. Has Richard Stearman played more league games at Derby this season than he did at Huddersfield last season?
Great question.
So Derby or Huddersfield?
I'm going to say he's played less this season.
So less at Derby than he did at Huddersfield?
Yeah.
That is correct. Yeah, that surprised me. 21 appearances for Huddersfield last season and only 11, according to SofaScore.
More than I thought.
There you go. So we'll probably come on to Stearman, but that is, a solid 2 out of 3. I think that's pretty good. Tom,
Yep.
Here's your question.
Go on then,
First
Brady.
question of the 3. So Scott High or Derby's Liam Thompson? Who is Scott High older or younger than Liam Thompson? Do you know Liam Thompson, Tom?
No, I actually don't know. Liam Thompson it's a shame Derby didn't have a player called Lowe, isn't it? Or something like that. That'd have been a good little pun for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, the second tier already kind of did that. So I was like, do I just nick it? But, locking horns, we'll stick with that.
Let's go with the lad's younger than Scott High.
So Scott High's older?
Yeah, Scott High's older.
Yeah, he is. Scott High is 20 and Liam Thompson is 19, but not much in it. Not much in it. So fair play. Okay, second question for you, Tom. Who has a better minutes per goal ratio, Danny Ward or Luke Planche? So Luke.
It's Luke Planche. I know this lad's played like 9 games or something and scored 3 goals. So Planche.
Yeah, correct. So 168 minutes for Planche, per minutes per goal, 192 for Wardy. So not a lot in it. There you go. Okay, and final question, Tom. Who has better goal difference in the league this season, Huddersfield or Derby?
Ooh, I think Derby are on 0 at the moment and Town are on 2. So I'll go Town.
Yes, so Town actually are on 4 and Derby are on 0. So yeah, so I don't know if they were easier questions for you, Tom, but anyway, you've won that 3-2.
It might have been easier, but when I went to Reading away last week, my phone's like dying. The battery's rubbish on it now, so I bought a paper, and this is really sad. I spent half the train journey looking at all the leagues, so that's why I know like the goal difference pretty much. So yeah, I did a bit of reading early on.
Well, there you go. Preparation is key. I mean, Town likes goal difference. We don't normally have a positive goal difference, so that's why I thought I'd bring it up. Justin, how are you feeling about that? 2 out of 3? Feel a bit robbed, or?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm just surprised that the amount of goals and assists Lawrence has had. I think this might be his best season in 5 years for Derby, which is absolutely mind-boggling considering the lack of quality we have. So yeah, no, very, very pleased with 2 out of 3. I'll take it.
There you go. A real captain's performance from Lawrence. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Tom Lawrence because we'd like to do a little scene set for the game. Tom Lawrence actually has 3 goals in the last 4 matches against Town. I did feel like he always scores against us, and you are correct. I was correct according to the stats. But just looking at the head-to-head quickly, Huddersfield have won just 2 of the last 14 Champion League meetings with Derby, but both of those were 1-0 victories at home in October. Obviously, we're in February when this game kicks off. Derby are 23rd in the league, but sit on 15 points. Just 7 points off safety after their 21-point deduction. So, Justin, I will quiz you a little bit about this, but obviously we know what's happening there, but it'd be good to know the latest for that. But 8 wins, 12 draws and 8 losses. Love the symmetry going on there as well. But the Rams have won just 2 of their 23 championship games on the road, but they've actually only lost 2 of their last 6 away games and have picked up some impressive wins in recent weeks. So, Justin, you are the Derby fan that we've brought on for this, you lucky man. I suppose the question is, does it feel a bit weird to be previewing games given what's happening at the club at the moment?
It does. It's almost one of those things that you just got to, I guess like the players, you just got to get on with it. Business as usual. The inevitable, I think every podcast I've been on, they've always asked me what's going on with the takeover, what's going on with the administration and whatnot. And it was the same answer. A lot has progressed since sort of the last time I featured anywhere. A lot has progressed in the last sort of 3 or 4 days, actually. But it is kind of strange. But at the same time, every single game, there's almost like a feeling of being quite fortunate that we're still getting to watch them. We're getting a team. If you look at Reading, for example, similar turmoil, not quite as bad, but still bad. They're an absolute disaster on the pitch. But what Derby are giving out is absolutely incredible. The Birmingham City game is a really good example. We were really poor for 85 minutes. Shouldn't have got anything from it. Last 5-10 minute fight back, and we get something out of it. And that's something that we've missed as supporters for years. My dad's been saying very often that this has been one of his favourite seasons, like going to watch the club, which is why I'm heading to the game on Wednesday night myself. So, it's not usually one that I'd go to midweek anyway. I don't like the travel back. The travel there is fine, but the travel back going down the M1 is an absolute nightmare, almost not worth the journey. And you mentioned Derby's away record's not great either. I think I've seen one win away from home in 3 years, which was Stoke the other week. So it's not been great, but yeah, it's a strange time being a Derby fan, but at the same time, very, very lucky.
Yeah, and I suppose the question I'd ask, obviously we all know about the points deduction and, obviously that was normally that would pass on to the pitch. But do you think it's kind of galvanised? Because like you say, it's almost like it's such a ridiculous task. It's like, why not we just do the best we can and like make the most of it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's every time we've had the worst news possible, we seem to have beat teams. Like I think the second points deduction came the weekend of the Bournemouth game, beat them 3-2. There was the Jagielka leaving and another embargo being slapped on the club, beat Sheffield United 2-0. You know, bad news comes and Derby seem to respond really well. And I think I go back to that Wigan team who got their points deduction and they went down on goal difference, I think it was, to Barnsley, if I remember rightly. And it galvanised them as well. They were just a train. Derby don't quite have the same quality of players that they do at that point, but they're giving something that a lot of teams fail to give in games, which is absolutely everything. And if you give absolutely everything, you've got a chance of winning a game, and that's what Derby are doing. And they're doing it playing pretty good football at times as well. I think that's something that goes unnoticed and it goes under the radar. So the football is good for what we've got available to us. You know, Richard Stearman and Curtis Davis are not ball playing defenders, but they're doing a job, and that's sort of the task that they've got at the minute is trying to sort of play that system that doesn't suit them, but they're doing a good job doing it.
No, definitely. And Tom, I feel like I'm a bit wary about this game because, you know, obviously we played Derby at the start of the season and everyone was like, oh, Derby are going to get relegated, they're going to do terrible. And then we had a COVID kind of case hit the club, and then we saw Derby's first 11 and we're like, oh, that's actually quite a good first 11. And, you know, I think we were lucky with a point, to be honest. Are you a bit worried about this one?
Yeah, because they're not a bottom three side the way they're playing. I don't think it's amazing what they've done, that team. Like, you've got to give Rooney so much credit and the players so much credit for what they're doing, because they could have so easily just like collapsed and they could still be on the bottom of the table with hardly any points. But the fact that they're now looking like, touch wood, there could be a miracle for them. I'm not going into Wednesday thinking Town are gonna. There's no easy 3 points in this league, and I think Derby this season definitely no easy 3 points against them. I think they've been really good.
No, definitely. And Justin, obviously you'll be able to tell us a bit more better than me and Tom will. But who's the key player for Derby in this one?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because you gravitate towards Tom Lawrence because of what he does with the ball. But I don't think Tom Lawrence gets anywhere near the ball without players like Max Bird in the side. If you look at the Forest game, for example, they shut off the avenues into Max Bird and Derby just couldn't play the ball out. Birmingham did a really, really good job of it. In fact, that's probably the reason why Birmingham dropped the points on Sunday, is because they stopped pressing the Derby defenders quite highly. That meant they could get the ball through, and obviously Bielik coming into the team as well. So for me, the key man in terms of making Derby tick is Max Bird. If Christian Bielik comes in, it's Christian Bielik. Whoever plays that anchor role, both can do it really, really well. Probably will be Max Bird, given Bielik's potential injury and also coming back from a long-term injury himself. But yeah, if you shut off that avenue, Derby don't play. Simple as that. And if Corburn's got his game plan right, they're be more likely to come out with a result. Plain and simple.
Well, we will see. But yeah, Max Bird, great player. I love him at Town, but the way Derby are playing, I'm sure we'll see that Derby in the same league next season. Tom, who have you singled out from the Derby perspective?
I got a couple of names down, and I'm just going to go. I think I'm going to go with Tom Lawrence, just because I just think he has stepped it up this season so much. I've got a Derby friend, shout out to John, who used to slate Tom Lawrence all the time.
I did as well.
And like he can't believe how he's changed this year. I mean, maybe it's that captaincy, getting the armband. When he heard that he was going to be the captain this season, he was fuming, thinking, why is he giving it him? But it's obviously brought something out in him. I just think, and like you said earlier, Brady, what is it, 3 goals in 4 against Town, Tom Lawrence? So he's one of those players that seems to pop up against us. So yeah, I've gone with Tom Lawrence.
Just the name Tom Lawrence scares me because it makes me think of. Do you remember the first game back after we got relegated from the Premier League? And it just always makes me think of Tommy Elphick's like flicking it with his chest and Lawrence scoring from it. I still shiver just thinking about it. I nearly went for Tom Lawrence because I think, like you say, he's had a great season. But I've gone for Luke Planche just because, like you say, he's 3 goals in 8 games or whatever. It's just from Arsenal under 21s, and he's getting ahead of Colin Kassim Richards. And I don't know, I think, in a situation like this for a young player to really, I know Derby have had to fill a lot of young players in some instances, but to just really grab the opportunity. And, Tom, we saw against Stoke Town sit back and invite pressure. And I just think if there's a young lad who's going to give it his all and a team that's going to give it its all, that does concern me a little bit. So, that's who I've gone for. But we are a Huddersfield podcast, so I'll actually come to you, Justin. Who worries you from a Town perspective in the game on Wednesday?
Yeah, there's a couple that spring to mind. I think Danny Ward could be handled quite well against Curtis Davies and Richard Stearman. I think they will mop up those balls into the box. But that being said, one thing that Derby have struggled with is balls into the box at times, and Harry Toffolo's delivery. He's shown this season he's been absolutely ridiculous with it, and we're not very good at playing against teams who play 3 at the back, so wing backs can exploit us. And Harry Toffolo, for me, is up there, one of the most consistent players in the league. So it's a bit of a strange one. So I would go Harry Toffolo because, as I say, his delivery is going to be really important from those deep positions. And one thing actually Stearman and Davies struggled to do against Birmingham was deal with the crosses. I think that the second goal, Scott Hogan's goal, came from a deep ball in, similar to the first goal. We actually ran across the box. But yeah, I'd go with Harry Toffolo, but for a more sort of Swazzy option, I'd definitely say Sorba Thomas, because set pieces again, just delivery so consistent. It's ridiculous how good he is from those areas.
Absolutely. And Justin, I don't know if you know, I always make this joke, but he was playing non-league a year ago. Don't know if no one's really mentioned that, but that's a really good shout, especially if Derby don't like crosses, because we know Sorba, like you say, can whip them in. Tom, who have you gone for from a Town perspective?
From a Town perspective, kind of going off a few of the home games recently. I don't think we played terrible on Friday night. I think they brought on some quality that you just can't match on our bench, which changed the game. But I think if it becomes that scenario again on Wednesday, if it's that kind of we take the lead and we end up getting pushed back, I'd like to see. I've gone for Matty Pearson, but the defence as a collective just to step up and not do anything stupid, because their goal came from Matty Pearson picking it up. Sometimes when you've got it in the box, you've just got to lump it and get it out. He tried to pass it out to Hogg, I think, maybe, and it went straight to one of their guys. And then from that, they had the free shots and the goal. So I just think, as a key player to be on his top form and just maybe be a bit more sensible sometimes in positions. And I know you want to try play football, but when you're under the cosh a bit, it's like, bloody hell, just get it out into stands.
Yeah, and it's surprising that Pearson did that, because I think of all the defenders, you think he wouldn't have an issue with booting it out. So, it was a great finish by Stoke. Jacob Brown, you do have to say, even though, like you say, hit the post, O'Brien blocks it. And then Jacob Brown goes and shushes Pozza for some reason. But anyway, a bit of a weird one. So I've gone for my key player. I've gone for Dwayne Holmes. I always tend to do this, but I just think when you're playing against your former club, I think there's an extra 10%. And he came back after someone tested for COVID in his household, came on as a sub. But I think if he start, I don't know if he's going to start or if he's going to come on as a sub, but I just have a feeling he might make an impact in this one. And I think, I don't know if you agree, Tom, but I think Holmes has actually had a pretty good season this season, and he's won quite a few fans back.
No, yeah, totally agree. I think I don't think he was like immature before, but I just think he seems to just grown up a little bit more, and he just seems a bit more professional. And I think he's been great this season. I think he's done everything you kind of when he was all right, wasn't he, Justin, at one point, kind of Lampard time. Was it just a bit before that season? He was in good form, and I think
really good.
He seems to have hit that kind of run again, and he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's good at, and it's effective when it comes off.
Mm-hmm. And Justin, from a Derby perspective, will Holmes get a bit of stick? Obviously, he made those comments when he joined Huddersfield about how he'd always wanted to join Huddersfield, or basically, didn't leave on good terms, so I would say.
Yeah, Derby fans have been a bit strange with former players, because they gave Jayden Bogle stick when we played Sheffield United. Max Lowe got stick when we played against Forest. I don't mind ex-players. I'm one of those who I'll applaud them. I think I applauded Max Lowe, forgetting that he was still in a Forest shirt and we'd just lost to our arch rivals. Not the best thing to do when the crowd's hyped up. But yeah, he will probably get a stick, and it's a shame really, because I really liked him. But I think it ended quite sour anyway, because he was one of those players who allegedly kicked up a fuss when Rooney got the job as a manager. He struggled with that transition from viewing him as a teammate to a manager, and I think Rooney said 2 players left as a result of that. One of them was Dwayne Holmes. I think the other one may have been David Marshall. So yeah, I think he left on bad terms, and I think fans just latch onto it. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. But I probably won't applaud him. I'll just give him an approving nod. He won't see it, but at least that's my bit done. I can live conscious, like in good conscience, that I've not booed him.
Oh, you don't know, mate. If he has a good game, he might just look up into the Derby and be like, "Thanks for that, Justin. That's what I needed." So normally we have View from the Other Side, where we speak to a opposition fan, but because we have an opposition fan here, I'm going to probably pepper Justin with 1 or 2 questions. I suppose my main question really, Justin, is what can we expect in terms of play from Rooney's Derby County, because that is still the joke. I heard the Tannoy announcement make it on Friday night as we were leaving, Wayne Rooney's Derby County. But what is Wayne Rooney's Derby County?
It is possession-based football for 60 or 70 minutes. If the game is level, it gets quite direct, which I don't mind. It gets quite exciting. It depends where the game is heading. If Derby are behind, if you watch the game on Sunday against Birmingham City, Derby went very direct. They're playing balls into channels. But if it's opposition, it might suit Derby playing against Huddersfield, who will try and press, who will leave spaces for Derby to exploit. I think that would be natural. So I think, there'll be a good sort of fluid team out there. The teams that we played recently have been quite stubborn. Sheffield United slightly different. Derby are able to exploit spaces, which Tom Lawrence's goals sort of showed that and hit them on the break as well. So yeah, I think you can expect a possession-based team. Don't be surprised when you see Ryan Allsop pass it to Curtis Davison in the 6-yard box, who then passes it back to Ryan Allsop, and then he launches the ball to the left back. Been doing it all season, so it'll be interesting to see how quick Huddersfield are to press on that. But yeah, possession-based football mainly is the route forward for Rooney.
Mm-hmm. I think we're used to that, Tom, aren't we? Centre backs, getting the ball inside their own box. So could be an interesting one. We'll come on to it at the end, but how are you feeling about this one? Do you think this is a good opportunity to get points for Derby, given that Town, do play open and expansive, and as we've seen in the last couple of home games, invite pressure, particularly in the second half?
It really does depend how Derby cope with the press from Huddersfield, because we've seen against Birmingham City and Forest, our defenders get pressed quite high. It becomes quite difficult for us to play out, and that's where we excel, is when we play out through the thirds. So I think it will be a difficult game, but as I've said, I think Stoke did it really well. They exploited the space in behind the defenders. That's pretty much what got them back into the game. And Nick Powell coming on as a bit of a false nine as well. The game just got stretched for Huddersfield, and I think they did a really good job of exploiting that. So it's about, it just depends how the game goes. I'd expect Planche to start, but if Colin Richards comes on, there'll be more of a direct game, which might suit us against Huddersfield, especially in the closing stages of the game. But I'm going to edge towards a draw. I don't see many away wins. and Derby don't win many away anyway. It'll be a draw from my perspective, and potentially we could nick a win. That's me being very, very confident, though. It's quite a difficult one to predict based on form as well, because both teams have been in good form. It's a hard one to displace.
Yeah, well, we'll give our predictions towards the end, but I'll stop peppering you, Justin, because it's time for, well, my favourite section, everyone's favourite section. It's Return to the Mac.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend.
De Poitr's got the better. Yes! And Laurent De Poitre scored! What a goal, Aaron Moy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia.
Return to the Mac.
Okay, so we're going to do things a little bit differently here. So we're all going to pick a Town player, but because Justin obviously is a Derby fan, we were going to let him pick a former Derby player, and we'll put all four to the vote. I don't think the Derby player is going to win the Twitter poll, though, if we're being honest. But we will see. Tom, who are you bringing back from the past for this one?
Difficult one because I've been on a few times now. I don't want to bring up someone else. I've gone for Clyde Wynard today for my return to the Mac.
Okay.
I just think someone a bit different, a bit of Dutch magic in there, and just someone who can maybe create something in that kind of final third is what I think we're looking for at the moment. So, yeah, there you go, Brady. Clyde it is. Fair enough. Well, obviously there's some kind of spiritual connection going on here, Tom, because I've gone for a Dutch player. I've gone for Karel Eiting, just because I think I've seen it in the last couple of home games. Second half, I know Stoke brought on Nick Powell and they had so many better options off the bench, but I think we panic quite a lot and we need someone to sit and spray passes about and just calm it down. I think it gets a bit intense, especially from us if we, from Town fans, if no one doesn't pass it forward in after not having the ball for 5 minutes. So yeah, I think I'd bring Karel Eiting back in this just to calm it down, spray some passes about, and we've talked about it a lot this season, but we're missing that kind of someone to set the tempo and keep the ball ticking over. So yes, that's what I've gone for. But Justin, who have you gone for? I always like it when a non-Town fan does this. So who have you picked?
Oh, I'm picking a Huddersfield player because I've got one in mind. I can pick a Derby one as well.
Yeah, I thought you were picking both. You get two choices. I don't know. The format's completely out the window this week. I made the game 2 minutes before we started recording. So
I'll throw the Derby one in first. I'll say Johnny Russell because he's a player that can play on the left and the right and through the middle, and he scored an absolute beautiful goal against your lot back in the 2013-14 season where he ran across from the left-hand side and George Vaughan threaded a pass through and he just dinked it over the keeper. And that's something we miss, that sort of movement and that composure in front of goal. So Johnny Russell, but if I was to pick a Huddersfield player, I'd say Guy Roberts. Because I think one of these, he's a midfielder who can create and score, and his left foot was ridiculous. Every team he played for, his just left foot was ridiculous. He's on. I think he was on Paul Cook's coaching staff. I was saying he was playing right up until probably last season or the season before. So it shows that he's got it all in the headers, not necessarily in the legs. So yeah, I'd pick Guy Roberts from a Huddersfield perspective. He's one that would do really well in this team as well. Again, player who can create and score goals, very hard to come by. Yeah, well, that obviously we love Gary Roberts on here, so I think that's a great choice. And I have a weird soft spot for Johnny Russell because a FIFA career mode when I signed him for Town. So and it was great for me like years ago. So good player. And then if I was bringing any former Derby player into Townside, I'd bring Will Hughes. That'd be who I'd bring back. I just think he was so good at Derby, and I think he's very underrated at in the Premier League as well. I don't get how he's not had a sniff in that. He is English, isn't he? I don't get how he hasn't had a sniff in the England side at all. Well, Tom, I left Will Hughes out of the article I did for the second tier about if you could only pick England players from the Championship, and let me tell you, Watford fans were not happy about that at all.
so I think that's a good pick as well. But we will move on because it's time for You're the Boss. So, Tom, this is a bit of an interesting one. How would you line Town up? Oh, I can't speak today. How would you line Town up for this one?
Yeah, interesting one, because I think it worked against Stoke. So were we playing 3 at the back against, or 4 at the back against
We went
Stoke?
4 at the back, didn't we?
Went 4 at the back. So I've gone back to the kind of 5 at the back, but with the wing backs in. So I'd be bringing Naby back in, so it'd be Lees, Pearson, and Sarr as you kind of back 3, and then Toffolo and Thomas playing that wing back role. And then Hogg and O'Brien in the middle with kind of Holmes, Sinani and Ward, that kind of attacking for a 3 at the front. So I don't know what that is, 5-2-3 or 5-4-1, that kind of thing. But I just think having that 5 at the back against Derby might just come in handy when inevitably we are pushed back and start playing deep again, just to have that extra cover. So that's what I've gone with. And I guess you don't know what Carlos is going to do. They're the kind of 2 formations we've been playing out there this season. So that is where I'd go. Would Carlos do the same? Who knows?
Who knows indeed. I went 3-4-3. So a similar thing. But I think Sarr should come in for this one. I think we're really missing Colwell, to be honest. I think that showed on Friday. And, he's been great for us this season. But I think Sarr's better in the middle. So I'd shove Lees out to the kind of left side, and then Thomas for the wing back role, because I think he's a lot better in that than he is as a winger, and particularly as Justin's mentioned, if they don't like crosses, I think Thomas likes a little bit of space to run into, doesn't he? And Hogg and O'Brien tough on the side, and then same as you, Sinani, Ward and Holmes. I think that's probably, if you take out Sarr and for Colwell, I think that's probably Town's best lineup in my opinion. So, just in how, I suppose I'll rephrase the question: how would you expect Derby to line up for this one?
It would definitely be a 4-2-3-1. The team pretty much picks itself because they don't have any players, to be blunt. So obviously it'll be Ryan Alsop in goal. He's been absolutely fantastic this season for a free transfer from Wickham. Lost his place to the Wickham side last season as well. He's been brilliant. Right back will be Nathan Byrne, which is quite interesting actually, because Sorba Thomas had his number in the opening game of the season, skinned him every time. So I think that would be an interesting battle if at all Thomas finds himself on the left hand side. Left back's an interesting one because Craig Forsyth had possibly one of the worst games I've seen any defender have against Birmingham City. So Buchanan might come back in. Then you've got Stearman and Davis at the back, two trusty old heads. Midfield will be interesting again because Max Bird will definitely start, but Liam Thompson, who's a very good recycler of the ball, very good at winning the ball back as well. Looking a bit tired though, only 19. Whether or not he risks Bielik, quite hard to say. He played his first game back after literally a year against Birmingham City and looked like he injured his shoulder. But if he comes back in, he'll probably only play an hour, but at the same time, probably better off just playing half an hour off the bench if he is fit. And then you've got Lawrence. Festia Baselli, again, is a massive talent. He's one to watch out for. He's quick, he's direct. Final ball can be a bit frustrating at times, but if he gets it right, he'll go right to the very top. He's got everything in the locker. I've said Lawrence, Baselli. I'm missing a number 10. I'm trying to think of players now. It's not ideal. Completely forgot what the team was the other day. Luke Planche will start up front as well. And that other player, I cannot remember for the life of me who it
Johnny
could
Russell.
be. I wish. We're just like we're going to have to line up with 10 at the minute. I cannot remember who that final player is. We literally have one starting 11 every week, and it's completely left my mind.
Hey, if Derby do line up with 10, we'll take that.
Might get a result.
Not to worry. So, Tom, well, we always close with the match prediction, how you see the game going. Justin touched on it a little bit, but how are you seeing this one going, Tom?
I think I'm in agreement with Justin, probably a draw. I've gone 1-1, but I would not put it, given the form both teams are in, and that we've scored goals. So we've actually been scoring goals, haven't we, and stuff. So.
Why did you look so surprised?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying.
You're at Reading. You saw.
I know. I'm trying to think. Last time we had a 0-0, so I'm gonna go 0-0 on Wednesday. So enjoy it, Justin.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. Like you say, 0-0. I've gone score draw 2-2. I just think. I don't know. I just think it'll be quite an open game and Town might go for it. And I could see us getting a couple of goals and, I can see Derby getting a couple. If I had to predict who's going to score for Town, I think Ward is going to get one. And I'm going to say Pearson at a corner because that's basically how Town score goals. It's either Ward or, from a corner. So, I think it'll be a good one, to be fair. I think it'll be interesting. I hope it's not like the Stoke game where we're hanging on, even though they were the better side in the second half. Justin, you mentioned draw, but what type of draw? Score draw, no goals? 5 goals each, who knows?
Christ, I don't think I could take that. I might have to agree with Tom. I think a 0-0 probably looks more likely. I think midweek games, they're great under the lights, but sometimes they do underwhelm, and I think this one might be one of them. I think Derby will keep it tight. That'll frustrate Huddersfield. If anything's going to happen, someone's going to nick it quite late in the game. I can't see it being too open. So yeah, I'd go 0-0, and I say, if either team will win it, it'll be in the last 10 minutes.
Cool. Well, I'm going to the game. You're going to the game, Justin. Let's hope it's not 0-0.
I'll take it. We need points.
Yeah. True. Well, we will see anyway. We will find out on Wednesday. Who knows? Town might have an extra player. We've signed 2. Already, as we're recording. Town may have an extra player who comes in from nowhere.
They might lose one too, Brady. Ooh.
Oh, don't. No, come on, Lewis. But no, famous last words. I'm not going to say Lewis. But yeah, if not, Matt, I'll have to clip that out. But thanks. Thanks to Tom and Justin for coming on. Thanks to everyone for listening. And thanks to Magic Rock, who always sponsor the podcast. I will be heading down there before the game. So hopefully, the beer will help and, we'll see a good game. We will see. But cheers to everyone. And we'll be back to preview the next one.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.